I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so like last class, whatever we have discussed, I will just brief you through, and then we'll start our session. So today's session will be little longer compared to every other day's session. So I'll be giving more information, and trust me, I'll make this experience like not boring or not too much. Okay, so I'll tell you very some small topics and very important topics, and I'll ensure I will not bore you. In case I'm boring, you can tell me that I'm boring. Okay, so I try to teach you in some different ways. Okay, you're free to ask me or stop me wherever you are not comfortable. Okay, so we are understanding what is Java, what are features of Java, what is JDK, what is JRE, what is JVM, right? How to print the input and how to take input from the user, how to print something in the output, right? So those things we have understood what is an expression, what are operators, right? And slowly we understood what are IDEs, how to use function, what is data types, connection, variables, and how memory. Sorry, please go on. Uh, No problem. Yeah, we understood how this memory map happens in Java program, right? And what is, I did not discuss what is math class. I will discuss it. Okay, I purposefully did not discuss. Then I understood what are wrapper classes, and we have an idea on what is wrapper classes now, right? So today's discussion, like yesterday's discussion, I also taught you what is if else ladder, and also I taught you what is switch construct, right? So these were done yesterday. So today's my agenda is to cover what is typecasting. So this topic I did not take up yesterday. So this I wanted to take up today. So I will take up what is typecasting and what are looping constructs. Okay. Then I'll be going with some other topics in day 3 in case if time permits. Otherwise, I will wind up there. Okay. Maybe I can take up only the one-dimensional arrays. So that is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure because I want to tell you some more important things in Java in understanding perspective or how you will go with this. Okay. So I just need some more time. So to start with, we will start with where we stopped yesterday. To start with today, we'll start understanding what are the looping statements, right? Because yesterday we started conditional statements, right? We got to know what is if else, nested if, right? And we got to know what is the advantage of going for switch, all that. Okay. Now today we'll finish it off in the beginning. We will finish what are looping statements, what are the different types of looping statements we have. Once we understand that, we go for typecasting, understand what is typecasting, then come to the other topics. Okay. Fine. To start with looping constructs, I'll just open my IDE so that it will be easy for us to write code. Okay. So I have a Spring Tool suite, which is actually in Eclipse in a modified version, which I was saying yesterday, right? You can use Eclipse and we can start our programming a little faster way or easier way. Okay. So I will teach you some shortcuts also in Eclipse so that how you can write your code better and in a faster way. So that will actually help you. Meanwhile, it is starting. Like yesterday, we understood how the memory mapping of Java programs happens, right? So there we had an object created for this particular student class. So where it had name, a roll number, college, and a method called as eat method. So I told if there are non-static members in a class, right? If you're creating an object, if you're creating an object, it gets created in the heap memory, and this variable will be pointing to that object, or the address of this object will be stored in this variable. Okay, I think this you guys understood. And what is static memory? If you declare any variable with static, you don't want to create object only. Directly, you can use class name dot member name, because it is there in a memory called as static memory. It is not present, or it is not a part of heap memory. Okay, so I think this also we understood yesterday. So yeah, going with conditional statements, the looping statements next. Fine. So I'll just use the same class which we have designed last class. So I'll just minimize it and increase the font. I hope it is visible for all of you. Now, in this window, what I'll be writing is main method. So main method to type in Eclipse is very simple. Just type main. Okay, just type main and hold control and click on space. Control space. So you'll get main method. Just click on enter. You'll get the main method automatically typed for you. You don't want to type public static void main. Okay, you don't want to do it. If you want to print something like system.out.println, just type syso and do control and space. It will automatically print you system.out.println. Okay, it is as easy as this. Okay. So in today's class, we will be understanding what are looping statements. So these are like most important, if you are working in software industry for maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or next 100 years also, this looping statements are must. Okay, you must do this in each program that you are doing. Okay, whether you're working on front end, you're working on back end, you're working on data science, you're working on machine learning, whichever stream of engineering you are working which is related to programming, you must know this looping statements in a proper way. Okay, let us understand what is looping statements first. So looping statements are the statements which are used to execute a certain block of code repeatedly. Okay. So certain block of code. What do I mean by that? Some set of lines. Some set of lines. Set of lines. Lines. You execute repeatedly. Okay. Repeatedly until some condition is met. Some condition is met. So this is called as looping statements. Okay. Say give example. If somebody asks you in real time, give example. Okay. What example you can give for looping statements? Say for example, you are going for uh, some ATM machine and you are withdrawing 10,000 from your account. Okay, 10,000 rupees you are withdrawing. So what actually happens in the code level is, okay, you should get the denomination. Say for example, 10,000. 10,000 can be divided into say 100 rupee notes or 1,000 rupee notes or 2,000 rupee notes. Based on the availability of notes present in the ATM machine, it will form a loop. Correct? Now, if there are 2,000 rupees notes, it forms a loop of 5 times. Means it counts that note for 5 times. It picks up each note every time for 5 times, so that you will have 10,000 formed for you. Or if it is 100 rupees, it like for every 1,000 rupees, it actually counts for 10 times. So 10 cross 10 is, it actually needs 100 iterations. 100 times it has to iterate to form that bundle of money that it has to give you. Okay. So imagine only 100 rupees notes are there. Like that outlet, what is there for you to get that money is not enough, right? It gives you in batch. If you have observed, it gives you in batch. First, it will give you some 5,000, then it will give you another 5,000. So it will count internally. You would have heard the sound also. So that programming is already done by the software engineers who developed that ATM machine, or an embedded engineer who has developed that ATM machine. Okay. If anybody is working on that, basic rule that you should understand is it should repeat one task repeatedly, right? Like counting one note repeatedly for certain amount of time. There is some condition that they're giving. Okay, if it is 2,000 rupees notes, you have to count for 5 times. If it is 1,000 rupees, then you should count for 10 times. If it is 100 rupees, you have to count for 100 times, right? So this kind of looping or conditioning is given um, by using this looping constructs. Okay, so what are the types? What are the types Java supports? Okay, what are the types of looping constructs Java supports? Okay, first loop that we have is for loop. Okay, for loop. It is very old, and you already know what is for loop and what it does and all that, right? For loop. Then you have for each loop. For each loop. In Java, you have another loop called as for each loop. For each loop. Okay. Then you have something called as while loop, and you have something called as do while. Okay. And also there are some concepts of break and continue. Break and continue. So why I'm teaching this break and continue here is like these have some important role to play in looping constructs. So that's why I'm just choosing to teach you here. Okay. So now let us go and understand each of this line by line and what each of this do, and why this looping constructs play an important role. Okay. I'll just comment all of this. So I have for each, while, do while, continue, and break. Okay. So I will just go inside this main method, and first thing that I start is for loop. So all of you know the traditional way of declaring for loop, right? So you have you can write like say for int say everybody uses I for this loop variable. I will use a. You can use any variable that you like. Okay. A is equal to 0 or equal to 1. Then you have a colon, right? Sorry, semicolon, and you have a conditioning statement. So what is this first statement that I'm writing? This is declaration or initialization, we call it as. Okay, you are having an integer a declared, and you are initializing that to 1. Means first step is already over. That is declaring an initialization of a variable you have done. Next is you have to check for a condition. If it is less than 10, okay, this is the condition. If a is less than 10 is the condition which I'm checking. Then I have increment or decrement done for my variable which I'm using in looping construct. Say for example, a is the variable. I can do a plus plus, a plus plus. Okay. Now somebody, when I was teaching this increment or decrement operator, asked me this question, sir, how this unary operator a plus plus or a minus minus works in looping constructs, right? So now I will explain you that. Okay, just pay attention. So now what is that I'm planning to do here is I'm planning to print some numbers from 1 to 10 or 1 to 9 or some limiting I am having, and I'm trying to print some numbers. That's it. Okay. So I'll just do system.out.println, right? And I'll print A. Okay. So what is this A now? A is a variable that I've initialized. So I've initialized it to 1. So first, when the loop starts iterating, So what happens? It initializes this value a is equal to 1, right? And it checks, it just initializes the value and comes inside and prints that particular value. If it is a first iteration, it just does the initialization, okay? And then it goes back and checks for a condition if a is less than 10. Yes, if it is a is now less than 10 because it is only 1, right? Then if this condition is true, right, it increments the value of a and comes inside the loop. Okay, so now what happens? It prints a is now a is equal to 1. Now what happened? A I did post increment a plus plus a is equal to a plus 1. So for all of you, you already learned a value will be used and incremented during course of time, right? So actually here the value of a is 1 only, but it is incremented and here it is used. Okay, value of a is 1 only because it's a post increment. It is used and incremented. So incremented value you are going to use in this print statement. Incremented value, it is going to be used. Okay, my screen is not visible. Others, somebody has told roll number 602 said that my screen is not visible, right? Sorry, yeah, I was just seeing the chat window. Fine. Okay, so here I am printing this a. What happens every time a gets initialized? First time only a gets initialized and it prints 1. Later it goes and checks the condition. If the condition is true, then only it increments. Then that value gets printed. And again it goes back and checks for condition. If it is less, again it will come into this and it prints. So this continues. This will continue until this condition is met. Until this condition is met. So if I run this now, you can see it just prints 1 to 9 because my condition is matching to print it from 1 to 9. Means if it is less than 10. If I want to print 10 also, I should use less than or equal to 10, right? So then I run this code, then I'll get from 1 to 10 all the numbers which are getting printed. Okay, so this is something that you should understand. What does looping construct to do? Looping constructs are nothing but to execute some certain block of code repeatedly until some condition is met. Until some condition is met. Here, what is the block of code? It is only this block. Only printing is the block of code. So it will keep printing unless some condition is met. What is the condition? This is the condition. This is the condition. Okay. You are able to understand this. Easy. Okay. There is easy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Super. So now, what other examples that you can take for loop? What other examples that you can take for a for loop? Just imagine. Okay. Just imagine what else examples that you can take for this. Say, imagine now you are having your WhatsApp or you are using your Facebook, a lot of applications you are using, right? All of them are continuously connected to internet, correct? No, all of them are continuously connected to internet. If it is not connected, it will not at all work, correct? No, it will not at all work. So just think every second or every microsecond or millisecond, your phone or your smartphone should send a request to the server, and server should send some response. Okay, so this activity, sending a request or getting the response, is happening every second or every microsecond or millisecond, right? So how this action can be performed, right? This action can be performed by using this kind of looping statements. So either you can go with say, if you know the number of times that you want to call a service, or number of calls that you want to call a API, then you can go with for loop. Means I know I should call 10 times. I know I should call 100 times, or I know I should call 1,000 times. If I know how many times I should call a service, or how many times I should call some part of code, if I want to do, I go for loop. Okay. If I don't know, how many times I want to call, then I go for while loop. Okay. Then I can go for while loop. Okay. So now, as of now, you understood for loop, right? For loop. Easy. For loop is easy. You're able to understand for loop. Okay. So now we'll go for each loop. There is something called as for each loop in Java. Okay. So I'll just keep it here. I'll go for each loop. For each for each loop. So what is for each loop? So for each loop is a very like old only. It is not a new construct. So it is used to make developers' life easy. Means when you're performing, say for example, you have some 100 chocolates with you, and you want to distribute that 100 chocolates to somebody, or you want to check some particular brand of chocolate in the list of 100 chocolates. If that kind of task is given to you, what you should do, you should go to each chocolate and check whether you have this kind of chocolate or not. So you want to check, right? Like searching and sorting operations. So searching operation, basically you want to do, like you have binary search, quick search, sort, and all those techniques to even search for a particular element in an array or in a collection. Okay. So to reduce the number of iterations that you make, or to make the iteration easy. Okay. Basically, whenever you are having a array, or whenever you are having a collection. Okay. So then it is very recommended to go with for each loop. Okay. So next time when you join any of your companies and all, no, generally they will have for each loops written either in a reactive way, or in a lambda way, or in a normal way. But writing for each loop will be common. Okay. Okay. What is for each loop? So just say I have a array. Say I was saying, right? Say string array of chocolates. I don't even know the spelling of chocolates. So bad. I just think this is the right spelling. Okay, I seriously forgot the spelling of it. So I have a array of chocolates. Maybe I have something like a dairy milk. Okay, I have some chocolate like Kaccha mango. Right, I have some chocolate called 5 star. I have some chocolate called Munch, and Milky Bar. Okay, so somebody gave me a list of chocolates. Okay, so what is this list is having? It is having list of chocolates. Okay, so what is my task is, I want to search a given chocolate in this array. So what is this array? It is list of strings, basically, just list of strings. Some strings are there. I want to search for um, some chocolate in this. Okay, so that is my task. Okay, or somebody says print all the elements present in this list. Okay, if that is the task. So how to do that is by using for each loop. Okay, for, so this is the syntax. So just it is like for only is the keyword that you are using. And here you will use what type of value is present inside this. What type of value? It is string type only, right? It is string type. Here I am having an array But what is there here? One string, two string, three string, like strings are there. So what I do, I will use a string type. String Choco, something. Okay. So string Choco. What is Choco? It is a variable that I'm using. Okay. Then I will use a colon, not a semicolon. I'll use a colon and give the array name. What is the array name? Chocolates is the array name. I'll just go and give the array name. Okay. So now my for each block is ready. For each block is ready. What is it actually doing? It is pointing to, it is taking the entire array, and every time it is repeating, it will take the first element. First time it will take the first element in the array, and it will give to this Choco. So what is there in Choco for the first iteration is dairy milk. For the second iteration, it is Kacha Mango. For the third iteration, it is 5-star. It keeps on taking each element at a time, each element at a time. Okay. So what I will do, I'll just go and print system.out.println of Choco. Okay. Something like this, I'll print. Now, what happens if I print this? So first dairy milk gets printed, then mango gets printed, then your Milky Bar gets, all that gets starts printing. Okay? All that starts printing in this. Okay. Let us see. Let us go and run this. Let's go and run this. Okay. As I have given 10,000, so 10,000 times it has iterated, and here you can see dairy milk, Kacha Mango, 5-star, Munch, and Milky Bar is printed. You're able to understand what is for each loop, for each loop, for each loop. If you want to iterate each element from a list, from an array, or from a collection. Okay. I did not teach you collection, so I don't want to tell you what is collection now, but try to understand if there are some list of elements. If there are 100 100 chocolates in it, and you want to find out only one chocolate. Say for example, here you can write a condition. If I find, if you find Choco dot equals, right, Choco dot equals, if you find 5-star, 5-star, you print it. Okay, 5-star, 5-star, you print it. Okay. If you find this 5-star only, you print a system.out.println. Otherwise, you don't print anything. If this is the condition, if I am giving, if I see 5-star in this array, then only print. Otherwise, don't print. Okay. So if I run this, now it finds 5-star. Yeah, it found. That's why it is printing. So imagine I gave something like this, 5-star. It is not there, right? This 5-star is not there. Now, if you run it, it will not print you anything. It will not print anything. See, it is not printing anything. Or you can also use an else statement and say no chocolate. You can just print no choco found. So whenever you are running, it will automatically say no choco found 5 times, because it is inside the loop. Every time it goes and checks the if condition, and it prints no choco every time. Okay, but you are able to understand, right? It is trying to iterate each and every time. In this, it is checking, it is going and checking dairy milk is equal to 5-star. No. Kacha mango bite is equal to 5-star. No. 5. It is checking each line by line by line. If it is matching it, it will print that 5-star, and it will come out. It is only printing once. It is only printing 5-star once. First chocolate is not a 5-star, second is not a 5-star, but third one is a 5-star. See, third one is a 5-star. So it is printing 5-star here. Others, it is printing like no choco found. Okay, so like this and all is an optional one. You can use it or not use it, or like I'm trying to explain you what is the purpose of it for each loop. Okay. Anybody having doubts regarding what is for each loop, or you are clear with it? You are able to understand what is for each loop? Any doubt in for each loop? Okay. if you don't have doubt, I will also teach this for each with some array list. Okay, so what is array list? I will explain you. Then I will teach you that. Okay. It's basically about collections. Maybe I have a topic called as collection 1, where it is present in collection 2. Collection 1 is maybe in the 5th day or the 6th day. Okay, I will teach you collections 1. Okay, then I will come to this. No problem. Fine. You understood for each loop, right? Any doubts in for each loop? So somebody asked, can you explain it again? Okay, no problem. So for each loop is used to get some elements from an array or a collection one by one. Okay, so like for example, I'll take some integer array. Previously I took string array. Now I will take integer array of say marks, some marks. Okay, and here I have marks like this. You know array, right? So I have marks like 35. I have marks like 78. I have marks like 98. Marks like 70. I have marks like 67. Marks like 51, 52. Okay. Some marks are like this. Okay. If your task is to print marks one by one, you want to print. If that is your task, then like how do you do it in normal for loop? Just tell me, how do you do it in normal for loop? Here you'll use int. You will use some loop variable. Generally you use a loop variable I is equal to 0. Then you will use marks dot length, right? Is less than I is less than marks dot length, and then you will use I plus plus, right? You'll use something called as I plus plus, semicolon I plus plus. And here, while printing, how do you print? System.out.println. You'll use marks of I, correct? No? Marks of I. So this is how you generally print. I generally print marks one by one. Marks one by print one by using normal for loop. Okay. If you run it, it will print marks one by one. It will go to that array and see it prints like 35 first, 35, then 78, 98, 70, like that. It prints one by one. But now you don't want to write traditional for loop, because here you know what is the length of the array. If you know a length of the array, you can go for loop, normal for loop. Imagine you don't know what is the length of this. Then you cannot use for loop. Okay. In that case, you need to go for a loop called as for each loop. So there the syntax is same as for loop. But here, instead of writing 3 conditions, that is initialization, condition checking, and increment or decrement, instead of writing 3 things, I'll write only 2 things. That is, what is the type of the element which is present? It is number only, right? Array can have only one type of value. It cannot have different types of value. So I will, okay, I know it is only integer. So I will use int a. Okay. Then I will use a colon. Why colon? I need to give what is the array name. Okay, I'll just take this and give a array name called marks. That's it. Over. My for loop is over. Now I'll just go on system.print.out println. Then here I'll just print this a. I'll just print a. So what happens here is, see, like this loop and this loop, you can feel the difference, right? It is very easy to understand that from this marks array, every time it is giving one element and I am printing that element. That's it. It is as simple as that. There is an array. In this array, each time one element is given, and I am printing that. That's it. That is as simple as this. So if I run it, you'll get 2 times output. You'll get 2 times because I have 2 loops. Right? Same thing I'm printing here. See, 35, 78, 90, 70, 67, 52, 35, 78. You're able to understand, right? It's as simple as that. Got it? Got it? The person who asked, explain again. Did you understand this? Hello? Sorry. You're able to understand this? Okay. I assume you're able to understand. Okay. Now I'll go with other loop called as while loop. Okay. So while loop. What is while loop? Okay. Sir, sir, can't we execute for each for multiple times? Can't we execute for each for multiple? Yeah, you can execute for each for multiple times. That is not a problem. Any number of times you want to execute, you can execute. That is not an issue. Like, can you explain your question a little briefly? Maybe I'm missing out something. Can you unmute and tell me what exactly you are thinking of, or what exactly you mean by that? You can unmute and talk, no problem. A lot of people are leaving the meeting, joining the meeting. Is there any internet issue today also? No problem. I think that is very common in any college environment. It is very common. No problem. So so what is while loop? Maybe the person who asked the question, can you please unmute and tell me so that I get a context on what do you mean? I can execute for each loops any number of times, so that is permitted. That is the answer for you. Okay. Now I have while loop. So what is while loop? While loop also does the same thing. Say first it checks the condition. If the condition is true, then it executes that block of code and again comes back and checks the condition if it is true. Okay. So basically what you need to do, whatever you are doing in the for loop, same thing you should do here. But in for loop, in a single statement, you are writing initialization, condition checking, and increment or decrement. You are writing everything in one line. But here you cannot do that. Yeah. Somebody unmuted. No problem. So here I can check a condition. Say for example, I is less than 10. I is less than 10. So I'm just checking some condition here, right? I'm not doing initialization. I don't know what is I basically, correct? So before coming to this loop, I have to initialize. I have to initialize that value I is equal to something. I have to initialize it before coming to this loop. And what does while loop do? It checks the condition. If the condition is true, then only it lets you go inside. Okay, system.out.println, and I'm just printing I. So what is basically it is doing? It is checking the condition first. If the condition is true, then it is able to print this. But this is not finished yet, right? It is not loop again now, right? If I execute this, if I run this, what it will do? It will go first. It is 1. Okay, it will check the condition. It will print that 1. Next time it will go, I value is same, I 1 only. It will go check the condition. Yes, it is true. Means it will go to infinite loop. Every time I will be less than 10 only. It will go to infinite loop. This is not the right way. See, if you are executing, you will get 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 continuously. See, it will not stop only. This is not a good practice. You should never do infinite loops. Never do infinite loops. Here you should go and check for a conditioning, or you should do increment or decrement. Okay. Somebody was asking, can I do plus 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 I? Yes, you can do plus plus I or I plus plus. Anything is allowed here. Okay. Plus plus I or I plus plus. Or you can also do something like this. I plus is equal to I. Okay. You can do this also. What does this mean? I is equal to I plus 1. You just you plus add 1 and then equate it to that. So that is the meaning. I is equal to plus is equal to I. So it every time adds that value to that. Or simply if you don't want to do this, you can either do plus plus I or I plus plus. It's your wish. A pre-increment or a post-increment, you can use it here so that you will get the expected output. It will not go to infinite loop. See, it is now still printing. It is still printing 0 to 9. Okay. If you don't know the number of iterations, then you can go with while loop. Okay, you can go with while loop. Say for example, you are entering into a shopping mall, right? You are entering into a shopping mall. The door opens automatically, and when nobody is there, it will close automatically. Have you observed that? So what is that sensor? There is a sensor value as and when the sensor value uh, is crossing or somebody is entering, so sensor will detect it, and only that moment it becomes true. Correct? It becomes true that somebody is entering. So your DC motor starts rotating clockwise. So your door will open automatically, right? When there is nothing, there is no value at all, nobody is coming, then the DC motor will turn anti-clockwise, so that the door gets closed, right? So some activities, some places where you don't know what is the number of iterations. You don't know how many people are entering into the mall also, right? There can be 1,000 people at a time entering, or sometimes there is no people who are entering also. So if you want to match this kind of things, you don't know the number of iterations, then you can go with, you can simply go with while loop. Based on the current value, it does some activity. Okay, then you can go with while loop. Okay, there is something called as do while loop. Okay, what is do while loop? So it is like understood. There is something called as do block that you are writing. Okay, and do block is followed by while. Do block is followed by while, and here you give the condition that I less than 10. Means what it basically does is, here also you don't know the value of I, so you need to declare it before the do loop. Okay, so I, you don't know what is I, so int I is equal to something. You need to declare it before coming to this. Okay, here I is equal to 0. Now what does do while loop do? Previously while loop was checking the condition. If the condition is true, then it was letting you in. But do is not like that. Do is a block. At least once it will execute. At least one, it will execute. If you want or if you don't want, at least once it will execute. Say I plus plus you have written here. At least once it will execute, then go and check the condition. So I was 0. Now it has incremented the value of I. Then it will go and check the condition if this condition is true or not. Okay. If it is true, right? If it is true, then it will come again to do loop and check for a condition. If it is false, then it will terminate. It will end the loop. That is the mean. Okay. So here I'll just do println of. Okay. Now I'll run this. You can observe it is printing from 1 to 10. Right? 1 to 10, it is able to print. So how it is able to print? Because it is going, and so you want me to execute step by step, I can show you step by step execution also. See, I'll go and debug this. I'll go and debug. See, I value is 0. So here I can show you values, how these things are manipulated. See, now I is equal to 0 will be executed, right? Can you see I value is 0 now? I value is 0. Now I value gets incremented. I is equal to 1. So I am printing this I value. I'm printing this I value. Okay. See, in the output also, this I value will be printed as 1. Can you see 1 is printed? Now it is checking the condition I less than 10. I less than 10. Whether it is true or false, I think I added this by mistake. Whether this is true or not, this is true, right? This is correct. I value is 1. it is less than 10. So again, it will go back to the do loop. It will go back to do loop. Again, it will increment the I value. It will increment the I value to 2. Now it is 2. Now it prints the 2 value and comes back and check whether I is less than 10. Yeah, it is less than 10 only. Then again, it will go to do. So same thing repeats. It starts printing numbers until this value 10. Now the value of I will become 10. I will become 10. Now it checks, it prints the 10 value and then checks whether I is less than 10. Whether 10 is less than 10, no, the condition is false. It comes out of the loop. It comes out of the loop. As simple as that. Sir, okay, how can we use scanner? Okay, I think you are new to the class. I will teach you, don't worry. Okay, so this is the program. Okay, I think you understood what is do while loop, right? So there is nothing you are facing issues with do while. Okay, now the last thing that I wanted to teach you is break and continue. Okay, so what is break and what is continue? So I will teach you. The person who was asked 583, you asked how to read values using a scanner. I will teach you that. Just give me some moment. Okay, and those who are joining this meeting, please join with your IDs, your roll number IDs. Okay, don't join with your names, join with your roll number IDs. So because they are capturing attendance from this application, so that it will be easy to identify your numbers rather than your names. Okay, fine. So you have break and continue. So like say, imagine you have a for loop which is printing for int I is equal to, or you can say p, any variable you can say, no need to take I only. Then p less than 10 and p plus plus. Okay, so here you are just printing this p. So you know this is like a normal program. It is printing from 1 to 10. To give less than or equal to, then it prints from 1 to 10. Okay, so it's a normal program that I have written to make you understand some for loop. Now think if I am giving break, what happens? Okay, what does break do? Okay, I'm trying to describe what does break do. Okay, so here I am writing a condition if the p value, if the p value is equal to 5, if the p value is equal to 5, ಅಂದ್ರೆ like that means ఇప్పుడు p5 అవుతాయి, right? I will just break. If I give break, okay, if I give break, what happens? It prints from 1 to 5 properly. Once it becomes 5, 1 to 4 properly, once it is equal to 5, it is breaking. Means this loop is getting terminated. So you will not print the other values. You just till 4 you will print. When it finds 5, it is breaking. Means it will come out of the loop. Okay. Somebody has a question, sir. Can you please explain me do while loop once more? Okay, I'll explain you do while loop once more. Just a moment. Okay, so here it says p is equal to 5. I will break. My intention is to come out of the loop if p becomes 5. Okay, fine, understood. Now I have the same, instead of break, I have continue. So what is the difference between break and continuous? If p is equal to 5, I am continuing. Means what? Instead of printing this value, I will skip one iteration. Means if p becomes 5, I will not do anything. I will come out of this loop and go with the next iteration. So it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. It will skip the 5. Then it will print 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that will be the output that you get. So what does continue do? Continue will just skip one execution cycle in this loop. One execution cycle it will skip. So that is what continue do. Okay, can you demonstrate some example which which can be done with loop that cannot be done with while loop and vice versa. Okay, can you demonstrate some example which can be done with for loop, which cannot be done with while loop? Makes sense. I'll do that. Okay. Okay. So hope you understood what is break and what is continue, right? If you're fine, you just say yes in the chat window, so that if you understood break and continue, then we will go and address the doubts that you have. I just want yes or no from the chat window so that I can go with the next topic. Okay. Hope most of you are able to understand.
Sir, I want do while loop once again, sir.
Yeah, I know. I am coming for the doubts now. Somebody has asked few doubts in the beginning. I'll come to those doubts. Okay, super. The first doubt was, okay, sir, can you explain me do while loop once more? Okay, so do while loop is so do while loop is like something similar to your menu based, or like you just have to perform one set of actions before you check some condition. Okay, so that is something that you need to perform. Okay, say it's like can I give an example? Is say you do some certain task. Okay, you do some certain task, saying like printing welcome user. Okay, so you want to welcome a user before he does anything. Like if you go to ATM and all, even though you don't have balance with you, you have zero balance also. When you put your card and give your PIN number, at least it will welcome you for using the banking services. Correct? Now it will welcome you from using it. So just you're trying to welcome user. It is trying to do something. Welcome user. It is trying to do welcome user. After doing this welcome user, it is going to check your condition. While balance is greater than some 1,000 rupees, it is going to check your balances. So don't forget to have a semicolon at the end of this. Okay, don't forget to add a semicolon. So what it does do loop is, at least it will greet you welcome user first. It will greet you, it will do something. Okay, then it will check for condition, then it will go and check for condition. Okay, so now somebody has asked how to use scanner. So scanner is a class. Scanner is a class which is present in java.util package. Okay, this is used to read the values from the user. Okay, I can use scanner scan is equal to new scanner of, and here I can pass system dot in. Okay, system dot in. Okay, now I have I can say user enter some money, some value. Okay, so whatever he is entering, you are using an integer variable called as balance, and you are storing that balance, saying yes. So scan is a variable. I will use scan dot next int of, because I am reading an integer value. I will use next int of. If I am reading a string value, I will use next line of. If I am reading a double value, I will use next double of. If I am reading a float value, I will use next float of. So there are some methods which are already present. So this method will read the value and store that as a balance. Okay, store that as a balance. As simple as that. Okay, now what you will be doing is, okay, you do some activity, then you go and check the condition if the balance is greater than 100. If the balance is greater than 100, then it repeats, the loop repeats, then the loop comes and repeats it again. Okay, so imagine here, okay, after welcoming the user, you will perform some looping activity. You need to perform, because if you don't perform this, every time the balance will be greater than 100. Maybe you are giving 2000. Every time the balance will be greater than 2000. Every time balance will be greater than 2000. So this loop will go to infinite loop. Okay, so you should do balance is equal to balance minus some value that you are reading here. Maybe say, for example, um, you can take it as amount and give a static value called as balance, int balance or BAL is equal to 5000. So 5000 is your balance. So every time when user is coming here, at least it will welcome him once. Once he is trying to withdraw the money, so what you are doing is balance is equal to balance minus amount you are doing. Okay, then you are checking if the balance is greater than maybe 0. If it is greater than 0, then it will keep doing it. It keeps doing it. If this condition matches, Okay, so I'll just save it and run it. The first time it will say, hey, enter some value. Okay, you will enter some value called as 1000. Okay, some 1000, and hit enter. The moment you hit enter, it is actually coming back to this loop again. Okay, how many times it is coming? Okay, first time it came, then it checked what is the value. So like it is actually printing welcome user 5 times, because the value that you have entered is 1000. So 1000 rupees you can actually withdraw 5 times. Instead of doing this, you can do this reading statement also inside this do statement. This I will just now you see it is welcoming the user. Now user will enter some value to withdraw, that is 1000. So next time also it will come and ask for welcome user, because he is still having enough balance. Okay, he's still having enough balance. So he is again doing like now he is trying to withdraw 3000 rupees. He is trying to withdraw. Now if he clicks enter, again it will ask for welcome user, because he is still having that balance with him. Okay, now again if he is trying to withdraw 2000, again if he is trying to withdraw 2000, it is not possible, right? It is not possible because his balance is only 5000. He already withdraw 1000 rupees and 3000 rupees. Already 4000 rupees is gone. He doesn't have enough balance to even take that money, right? So that's why this condition is failing. And it is not asking him input again. It is not looping back. Okay, so that is what this do and while loop does. See, I just gave you a dumb example, but what is this dumb example is trying to tell you is what is do trying to do. Okay, do at least will execute some statements, at least will execute one statement, or at least it will welcome the user, and then it will go and check for the condition. But while loop doesn't do like that, right? First it will check the condition. If that condition is matching, then only it will allow him to come inside. But this is not like that. At least it will do some activity, it will welcome the user, then allow him to do some other activity. Yes, it's like a very simple one. It is not a full-fledged example that I'm trying to develop here. If I develop the full-fledged one, it becomes an application only, right? Like all the validations and all the scenarios, if I am thinking, it becomes one application only. Okay, this is just an example that I'm quoting you. Okay. Does it make sense for you? Okay, so coming to the last question somebody has asked, is
Sir, without taking direct values, how can we read array values, sir?
without taking direct values. Okay, you want to read array values using this. Okay, no problem. So in case you want to read array values, you need to store it. Okay, you need to read it and store it. I'll just show you how to do it. How do you do it? So you have this scanner value. So here you can write a for loop to read it. Okay, you know, like why we use for loop, like because you want to have some elements that you store in an array, and you want the size of an array to be defined, right? You want some elements in an array, and dynamically you want to read it. So dynamically you want to read it and store it in that index. So that you can do it by using int, say I is equal to 0, and I less than, say maybe you want 10 elements, 20 elements, 30 elements. So it's your choice of how many elements that you want in an array. It depends on that. You can decide the loop for loop value. Okay. So if you know how much values you want to put it in an array, if you know that, then you can go with this looping. Okay. Say 10. So 10 elements I want to put it in this loop. Okay. And then you do I plus plus. Okay. So you are reading it. So you want an array now, right? So I will just use integer array. You just declare integer array. Say values. Okay. Values is equal to new int of, and what is the 10 is the value that you are defining. So this is the way you declare declare a say array. Okay, you declare an array object and its size. Okay, so now you have an array of values which is of size 10. Okay, so this is a one-dimensional array that you are having, which is of size 10. So now you can dynamically read input from the user. So how do you read dynamically? Is by using a scanner, scan dot next int of, right? Next int of. You read this value. This value you need to store it in a array. So you will use values of I. Okay, values of. So what happens is, so what is values is an array, and every time in the 0th index, I need to scan an element and store it in it. How many times I need to do? I need to do 10 times, so that I have 10 values that it is having. So after you have all the 10 values, what is your task? You need to print all of them out. So to print all of them out, I will use a for each loop. So I know int number is that which I want to print, and from where I want to print is from this values array. I will choose that values array, and then I will do system.out.println of number. Okay, number. So this is how I form my statement. And now, like you want some more like a more easier way to have, then you can put this system.out.println also here. Enter some val. I'll just remove this here. So now, whenever you are running this program, it will ask you for enter some value. Say now you are giving like 10, then you are giving 20, then 30, 60, 70, 80, 90, and some 74. So these are the 10 values. The 11th value that you are trying to give, it is going for array index out of bounds. So what is happening? It is not able to take that input. So this is how you actually store the values into this. So what is happening? 10 values are getting stored, but your loop is not getting stopped. That is why you are able to read the 11th value also. Maybe you can change this to is equal to not is equal to less than 10. Maybe I'll just give numbers like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so now it has read all the values, and whatever values, see here you give values, right? So what 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever values you gave, those values are getting printed. Those values are getting printed. This is how you dynamically read the value, store it in an array, and print it. Don't worry, I'll tell you why I'm writing like this when I'm teaching you arrays. Okay, don't worry. So this is how I create an array of integer and then use it in this format. Okay, so this is the way to read. You are able to understand this, right? There was already array where I had already written some numbers and I was doing a for each loop. But now I am reading from the scanner, storing it in the array, and then printing that array. You are able to make the difference, right? You are able to understand this, right? That was your question, I assume, right? Hello. Together mode screen changed. Somebody asked me to pin my screen. How do I pin my screen? I don't think so. It is required. You are able to see my screen, right? Is there any issue that you're facing while seeing my screen? All right. Soumya P, you're asking me to pin my screen. I didn't get what is that you're expecting me to do. Sorry. Somebody's raising hands and all. Okay. Repeat break. Okay, repeat break. Break is some statement. Say for example, here you are printing some values, right? Okay. So here I want to break in some point of it. Say for example, if the number is equal to 0. Okay, if some user is giving 0, okay, in some point of time, user has given 0 in the loop. Okay, so if that is the case, I don't want a number to be 0. I want to break this loop. I want to break this loop. So what does break do? Whenever it finds number 0, it will come out of the loop. It will not print. That is the meaning. It will come out of the loop and it will not print. Okay, I'll just show you in a debug mode so that you'll understand better and appreciate how this memory mapping is done. So I'll just try to debug and show you. So pay attention. So now I'm initializing the scanner and I'm reading values of values. I've created an array of values. All are having zeros stored in them. Okay, default value of any integer array will be zeros in them. Okay, so now I am trying to read the values from the user. I am saying enter the value and next line of, right? So here it is expecting me to give some value. Say I give 12, then it enter. Now again it is going back because this condition I is not matching the condition. So again it will come inside and it will ask for next value. So I'm giving some 87. Now again it is coming back. So similarly, it executes this until the condition is met. So now after 3 values, purposefully I want to give 0 somewhere. Okay, somewhere while reading, I want to give 0. So here I am giving 0. Okay. 0 is also a number, right? 0 is also a number. So I'm trying to give 0 as a value. So nowhere else I am giving 0. I'm just trying to continue. Sorry, it's taking some time, but just pay attention. For this 10 loops, I'm giving some value. So might take some time. Now, what is the loop variable value? What is the you can see now in this values array, 12 is getting stored, 87 is getting stored, 6 is getting stored, 0 is getting stored. This I'm in the 7th index basically, so I need some more index to pass. So here I will again give some value like 7. You can see 7 is added here. And the last bracket is pending, so the last value is pending. So I'll give 56. So now see 56 is added into this. So this is an array. Array got formed. Now I'm trying to print this whatever values were there. In this each element I'm trying to print. Okay. So first time whenever I'm printing this out, see the number is coming as 12 because 12 is the first value in this array. In this array, 12 is the first value. So I am taking the first value as 12 and I'm checking whether it is equal to number is 0. It is not 0. So it is printing that number out. So that is 12, right? Similarly, I'm taking the second value. Second value number is not 87. It is not 0. Done. Next time it is coming number. What is the value number? It is 6, right? So you can see 6 is coming here. So now it is also not 0. So it will print it as 6. Next time, whenever I'm executing in this values, it is 0. You can see it is 0. So number is also 0. 0 is equal to 0. So now it will come to the break statement and it will break. What does it break mean? It will come out of this full block. It will come out of it will not execute any other looping statements. So it will not execute. It will come out. So only these blocks are printed. These elements are printed. Did you understand break? Same way, here I'm using continue. Now what happens? The same iterations will start, but when it finds number equal to 0, only that iteration it will skip. Means this 3 statements will skip. It will not execute. It will again go back and start from the new fresh value. That is after 0, whatever values are there, all of them will continue to execute and you will get all the values except the 0. Except 0, you'll get all the other values. Okay, so like I'll just reduce the number of iterations to 4 and try to show you that. So I'll run it again. So see here, now I'm having some value 12 and I'm value 25. And here I'm giving 0 purposefully and giving 87. And see now 0 is not printed. 12 is printed, 25 is printed, 87 is printed. But that 0 is skipped. 0 is skipped. Okay, so this is the magic of continue. What does continue do? When it finds 0, it will just skip one iteration. Once iteration, it will skip. It will go to the next iteration. Are you able to understand this? Yes or no? You know, skip add, right? You will skip the ads. What happens? Okay, if you find that ad, if that skip button is enabled, you will click on skip. So what happens if you skip? That ad will only skip, but whatever program which is running behind will be there. That is the meaning. Okay, somebody has asked some question. Okay, I kind of diverted from there. What is the question is? Can you tell me? Okay, sir, can you demonstrate some example which can be done with for loop and cannot be done with while loop? Okay, and vice versa. It's not like you cannot do. Say whatever you're doing in for loop, you can absolutely do it in absolutely possible to do it in while loop because both for and while are looping statements only, right? So if you give the number of iterations, while loop will definitely work fine. Okay, there is no no condition that is avoiding you not to do it. But one thing that I can say which you can do in while loop but not do in for loop, okay, that I can tell you. Say in while loop, right? Generally, what we tend to do is we tend to have flags. Okay, flag as a variable, say boolean flag. Okay, boolean flag. Maybe we give this flag as true or false. Flag is equal to, like, generally we give it as false. Okay, and keep this as a reference. Okay, then we write a while loop while flag is 1, flag while flag is flag is equal to true, or while flag, you can just take it like while flag means if it is true only, this while will execute, otherwise it will not execute. We can make something like this. Say like I was saying you an example, right? If the sensor is sensed, okay, when sensor is sensed, this flag will turn to true. If the flag is turned to true, then only this loop will execute, otherwise this loop will not execute. Okay, so these kind of features you can bring in by using while loop, but this is not possible in for loop. Okay, for loop you can only have conditioning to be done, means okay, based on a number of iterations or based on some conditions that you are iterating the loop. So these kind of activities you cannot, means this will continuously wait for flag to become true. But in a for loop, it doesn't continuously wait for flag to become false. It based on some practical condition. If that number is met or the number is greater or less than, then it prints. Okay. If number not equal to 0, system dot out dot, can we just put, yeah, you can just put if number not equal to 0, if number not equal to 0. Yeah, you can also do this. You can also do if number not equal to 0, you can. Okay. Why do we have two loops? Okay, so why do we have two loops? Yeah, so here two loops is, one is to read the input. Okay, one is to read the input and the other one is to print those values. That's why two loops. One is to read it and other one is to print it. Sir, can we write counting digits program using for loop? Yes, you can write counting digits program using for loop. Yes, it is possible. Why to use continue? I just told you why to use continue. Say continue is like say you have some set of conditions that you want to perform. Say for example, you are given a menu option. You went to a hotel, maybe you imagine some barbecue nation or where you have this buffet system. No, you go and eat whatever you like. If that is the situation that you are in, whatever you want to eat, you can eat. But what you will do generally, you'll go take a small piece of that dish and you will serve it to yourself. If you like it, then you will serve more. Otherwise, you will not serve more, right? So generally, we will do like that. So continues like that. Like you go and see if that condition is not suitable for you, you skip it. Okay, you do the remaining things. Only for that moment you don't like that food. It doesn't mean that you don't like at all. Maybe you like some chicken biryani. Only in that hotel, chicken biryani is not proper or not good or not tasty, or you're not feeling to eat that right moment. You can skip it. So you can give continue there. So you don't want to do it at that right moment. Maybe next time you might like it. So next iteration when you're going, maybe morning you went, you did not like it. It doesn't mean you don't like only. Maybe if you go in the afternoon, you might like it. So that's why we will give continue. So that next time also it will go and check that condition. Or maybe other options you don't want to skip. If you are giving break, no, it will not check the other options. It's like you are going for a hotel. You are first tasting tasting some rice and dal. Then you are tasting some roti. Next, they have kept biryani. Biryani is not good. You will not come out of the hotel only, no. You'll not walk out of the hotel only, no. You'll go and take some mushroom Manchurian or any other dishes are also there. You'll go and taste others also. You'll not come out of the hotel only because one dish is not proper. Okay, that's why we go for we use for continue. Even though one is not good, you want to skip it and go with the other blocks of things, other things that you are there in the loop. We go for continue. Hope I made sense. Hope you're able to understand this. Okay. Any more doubts, you can ask me in the loop, or you can unmute and ask me. I'm available. So next thing that we are discussing today is what is. Yeah, somebody has a doubt? No, I think. Okay. So next thing that I'm discussing is okay, if a number is not equal to 0 and system.out.println number here not equal to does same as continue. Yes, it does same as continue. It works fine as that continue. Okay, it doesn't make any partiality. I know. Yeah, correct. You can use that also. See, continue is meant for many other things also. Okay, so it's not only specific to the looping statement which I'm doing here. Okay, some part of the code where you have go-to statements or jump statements and all, you might have heard, right? So in those perspectives, it behaves slightly different. So in one of my project which I'm using, so what we are doing there was comparing different data types. Okay, like for example, user has given some value and we don't know which data type he has given. Okay, we don't know which data type is given. Say he has given number like 45. Okay, so 45, you can treat 45 as string also, you can treat 45 as number also. Okay, so in some scenarios, you want to take 45 as number, but in some scenarios you want to take 45 as string. Okay, it depends on the scenario that you are looking into. So in those scenarios, in some scenarios you want to take 45 as a string, so there you will write continue for number. Means if it is considering as a number, you skip it. Okay, in some scenarios you want it as a number, you don't want it as a string, there you write continue just to skip it, not to be as a number. Okay, okay, fine. Hope it made sense for you. Yeah, this statement also works similar to that, but it doesn't handle all the scenarios that we are looking for. So next statement or next questionnaire that we are going for, what is typecasting? What is typecasting? What is typecasting? Okay, so what is typecasting? Converting one form to another form. Converting one form or one data type to another data type. One form to another, or one data type to another data type. We call it as typecasting. Okay, so what do I mean by typecasting, or how typecasting works in Java is very, very, very important. Okay, you have this primitive data types called as int, right? You have a short, or you have byte. Actually, byte is the minimum data that you can look for, byte. Then you have something called a short. Okay, then you have something called as int. You have something called as HORT, short, int. Then long, float, long, you have double, then you have boolean. Like you have different data types. Okay, so these data types are like, you think these are like boxes that you have in your home, boxes that you are having in your home. Okay, so let me copy this. Control C. So imagine you have I will just give me a moment so that I will drag and drop few of this. Okay, so imagine, so these are the different types of data types you are having. You are able to see the screen, right? Is the screen proper and visible for all of you? Okay, so imagine this is, I just paste all the values. Okay, so imagine this is the order in which I am having this boxes which I am pasting here. Okay, so you are able to see the order of boxes, right? Okay, so you are having a byte, which is a small range. Okay, so small range means its a size or the memory which it allocates is very small. Okay, so can you say byte is a small box? In your home, to keep sugar, to keep coffee powder and all that, you have different boxes available, right, in your home. So that small box, can you put it inside your slightly big box? And after the slight big box, you have some other box which is greater than this, and this is bigger than this is bigger than this. Like generally, after washing all the vessels in your home, your mom will ask you to wipe it, right? While wiping, what you will do, you will follow this kind of activity, right? Small things and all, you will keep it inside, and one big container will be there. All the small vessels will be inside that big container. Then you will take it into your home, or you will take it outside. You will do this activity, right? How many of you have done this? Especially girls or boys who are there in the call. Most of you might have done this activity, right? So this activity is in Java, we call it as typecasting. What is typecasting? Converting from one type to another type is called as typecasting. Okay. So for example, the lot of interview questions comes here. So I have a variable called as byte, byte, say mini box. Okay, so some mini byte mini is equal to, you have value called as 25. Okay, byte is nothing but an integer type of data. Um, so here it is. We can take it like mini only, but it is of bigger size. So I take mini 1 or something. Okay, is equal to, say I have a value like 54. Okay, integer, a normal is equal to some 85. So it's just values which I'm giving. Float is a like a pointer box which is having some value like 25.95 f. So this is a float value which I have. Okay, and long value is like you generally have it like big one. So how, like values like this. So this will be long in nature, and double also is like bigger than all other boxes. It has 8 bytes of memory, and it can store some values and also with some decimal numbers along with it. Okay, so this is how we generally have this boxes being done. Now, in case I want to say I want to store some value of mini in mini 1. Okay, mini 1 is already having 54. Now, what I want to do, I want to store mini 1, whatever I have. In that, I want to store the value present in mini. I want to present mini box. Okay, is it possible? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So how it is possible? Because you can see the hierarchy here. Easily, this box, byte box, can be put inside short box. Short box can be put inside int box. Int box can be put inside float. So the higher order is possible, but not the reverse order. Not the reverse order. Can you put the big vessel inside the small vessel? You cannot do it, right? So this casting, converting from one type to another, say mini 1, I will just copy and I will paste it here and I will run it. So what is mini 1? Actually, it is 54. So mini is 25. So 25, I am storing it in mini 1. So if I print this, I should get mini 1 or not. So 25 should be printed here, right? 25 should be printed here. Let us see whether we get it or we get some error. See, it is getting 25. So 25 means this value is now stored in short. byte can be converted to short. Okay. Can I convert short to int? Can I convert short to int? Is it possible? Short to int, can I convert? Means, say what is there in normal, can I put it inside mini1 or whatever normal, sorry, mini1, I want to print it in normal. Mini1 is 54. I want to put this mini1 in normal. So mini1 I'll copy and I will have it here. Now, if I am printing normal, what do I get? What do I get? What value I get if I print normal? What do I get? 25. Why 25? Because mini1 is now changed to whatever value in mini it was there, right? I changed it to mini1. So if I just comment it, then whatever the value which is present in mini1, that is 54, will be stored in normal. Instead of 85, 54 will be stored in normal, and you will print normal as 54. You are able to see this, right? So this type of conversion, we call it as, right? Should we call it as like implicit casting? Implicit casting means internally it will convert. Internally it will convert itself. Means you don't want to do any extra thing. Automatically, a smaller value can be put in the bigger value. Smaller value can be stored in the higher value. So automatically it takes that. Automatically conversion will happen. So type conversion, right? Integer, you are, see here you have integer. Can you put this integer inside double? Yes, you can put in double, because double is 8 bytes in memory, but integer is only 4 bytes in memory. 4 bytes can easily go inside 8 bytes, or it can store it in this long also. So this type of conversion, we call it as automatic or implicit type conversion. Implicit, automatically it will happen. You don't want to write any code. You don't want to write any code. But imagine you want to convert integer to short, or you want to convert short value to byte. Means other way. Means in this scenario, you just see, sorry, you are trying to convert, you are trying to put this big box inside the small box, big box inside the small box. Then you need some external activity that you want to do, or we say explicit type conversion. What is that? Explicit type conversion. So this has to be done by developer. Okay, so let us see how that explicit type conversion happens. Now I am converting short to byte. Short, I am converting to byte. Okay, so what I will do, I will use in the left hand side, I will have mini. In mini, I am trying to put mini1. Is it possible? The moment I write this, I will get an error saying that, hey boss, type mismatch cannot convert short into byte, because it is not possible, because it short short is bigger than byte. Short is bigger than byte. You cannot directly convert it as it is. So what you should do, explicit typecasting. Means you should go talk to mini1 and say, hey mini1, you are bigger value, I can understand, but you should act as mini1, you should act as mini. You should tell him, hey mini1, you should act as mini. How will you tell them? You go and have a bracket here, add a bracket here, and say, hey mini1, you are actually short, but now you behave like byte. You're actually short, but now you behave like byte, because mini is byte. Mini is byte. You behave like byte. Okay. Now there is no error. Now I can happily go and execute this mini1. Mini. I can execute this mini. So whatever is there in mini1 will be stored in mini now. 54 should be printed. See, 54 is printed. Now you want to convert some value which is bigger. Okay, bigger one. This value you want to convert it into long. This value you want to convert it to long. Is it possible? Not possible. Others in the call, can you tell me whether it is possible, not possible? You should see the size of this. Okay, see integer, what is the maximum size it can occupy? It is, yeah, 65,000,
Not
some
possible.
yeah. So that range that you have, you can accommodate that. Okay, so what is the code that you want to write? Okay, let me write. I am converting bigger to big. Okay, bigger to big. Okay, let me see how do I write it. So generally I will directly go and write. So let us see whether it is possible or not. I will try to store big, something inside big. What is bigger? I'm trying to store bigger inside big. Is it possible directly? Automatically will it convert? No. Automatically your JVM will not understand this. It will throw me error saying that, hey boss, type mismatch cannot convert. You cannot convert double into integer. You cannot convert. It will throw you error. Here it will also ask you some suggestion. It will ask add cast as long, or you change the type only. You don't want to change the type, so you just add a cast. So you are saying bigger, a bigger, you are going inside long, you are going long. Now you are not, no more double, you should behave like long. Means you are converting yourself to become long. So whatever is stored in this is nothing but the bigger value, but in a long format. But in a long format. Now, if I print big, what will you get as an output? Whatever the value which was there in. Oh, sorry, I did something. Sorry. So now, whatever is the value here, this will be stored in long, but in the format that the long supports. The format that the maybe the long that might not support this decimal values. Okay, it will automatically adjust because here I have this decimal. That decimal will be removed because long will not support decimal. Long will not support decimal. Okay, automatically only these values will be retained. Can you see these values are retained and these values are omitted? These values are omitted or removed. Okay, this is called as type conversion. Type conversion. Okay, or we say it as type casting. So what is this explicit you are doing? So it's called as explicit casting. Explicit casting. You are doing out from somewhere else. So this is called as explicit casting. Understood? Simple.
No, sir.
You did not understand, huh?
Yes, sir. So
How
if
many of you
the
what's your doubt? What's your doubt?
if short is 54, 25 is less than 54, no, sir. Even though if it is converted into byte, the value is more, no, sir. So how can it store the value?
No, let us understand what is the maximum byte can store. Okay.
Tarani,
What,
Tarani.
okay. It is not, it doesn't mean whatever number we are giving here, it depends on that. No, it depends on the size of short, size of byte, and size of int. Okay. You can go and check the range of what data types can have. Data type range or range in Java. So you'll understand this. So see, int can store, short can store. See, short can store 32,2768 to this value, 32,767. So this is what short can support. Int can support this much. Okay, and long can support this much. Okay, so here I just gave a number, just a number, that's it. So it can be reverse vice versa also. This can be 1, this can be 1, and this can be 25. So now this value, don't think like that. So think a box, think about this box. Okay, this much memory is required for double. Double requires this much memory. This much memory, can I put it in this small memory? So this much memory, can I put it in here? This much can I put it? So every data type comes with a memory allocated for it. What value which is present inside that, that you don't worry. Okay, that you don't worry. It is some other range that you are looking into. Okay. Are you able to get it or not get?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
See, in this box, you can only store 100 grams of grains, only 100 grams. In this, 200 grams. In this, 300. In this, 400. In this, 500. But in this, 1 kg. Okay. Double can store 1 kg of things in it. Maybe rice in it. Okay. 1 kg of rice. Can you put it inside this box? It is not possible. I am not filling the complete box here. Correct? No. I am not filling the complete box because my values are very small. See, I am just having only this value. But what double can support means, see, I'm only having 100 grams here, but this box can support 1 kg. That is the meaning. So this value, can I easily put it in this? Yes, because this box also supports this much weight or this much size. So this conversion can be automatically done, but not the other way. Means I cannot put the bigger size actually into this. Okay, actual size of it, I cannot put it into this. That is the meaning. So a popular interview question, one interview question, every interviewer try to trick you. I'll try to ask you this. Okay, so I have a value called as byte b is equal to say 34, and I have byte c is equal to 34 110. Okay, 110. So I am doing byte answer is equal to b plus c. B plus c. Now, can you tell me what is the answer that you get here? What is the answer that you get here? This is byte, and you're storing in byte only, right? So what happens if you are having such kind of code? What will be the output? What will be stored in yes? Just for your question, just an answer from your side. So here it is showing some error, right? Can you see here some error? So this is an interview question which was asked in one of the OCJP exams where Oracle certified Java programmer exams they will conduct. Oracle will conduct. Okay, so this was a multiple choice question. They were asking what is the output for this, or you can say here you don't want that much value. You can just take it as 10. Okay, just take it as 10. You have 34 and 10. Addition of these two I'm doing and storing it in another byte variable. So 34 plus 10 is generally 44, right? 44, and I should get answer as 44. But still here you are having some issue. So what is this issue is, even though this is byte, whenever I'm doing a plus b, this value is considered or type promoted to integer. It was promoted to integer. So integer value, I cannot store it in byte value. So that's why it was asking to just do a cast, so that now a plus b, whatever value I get, that will be converted to byte and stored in this answer. So I will print the answer. Now I will get 44. Okay. So this is one confusing question. Only this in byte you get this error. Only in the byte you get this error. So pay attention and try to whenever these questions are asked. Okay, even though you are having byte type, after adding this will be auto type promoted. There is something called as type promotion. Any number written, right? Any number like 4, 5, 6, any number is written, automatically your compiler treats it as integer value. Okay. Are you able to understand this? Any doubts? Any doubts? Sorry, I'm not seeing your chat window. Just a moment. Does the value get updated after insertion? Yeah, it automatically gets updated after insertion, right? So like this answer, whatever variable we had, that value gets updated to the new value. Okay, sir, can you explain the following output, the following lines? Okay, super. What is this? This kind of questions actually interests me. So I have 8 plus 2 plus APRIT. APRIT. Okay, done. Okay, what does this keep? Okay, so now see what is happening here is you have a integer value and an integer value followed by a string value. So what basically your string concatenation does is it treats these two as numbers only, these two as numbers only, and adds them. So you get 10 and then KPRIT. Okay, see if you're printing this, you'll get 10 and KPRIT. Okay. But in the other way around, if you're writing KPRIT, then you are writing plus 8 and then you are writing plus 2. Basically, what it does is your print length statement thinks that it has a one string which you are trying to print. So the string which is concatenated with the other two. Okay. So when you are trying to explore this or execute this, so this gets added. So this KPRIT is a string. So entire thing is a string. It will think this is one string. It will just add like Mahesh Babu is the two words. It will add together. Mahesh Babu will add together. So similarly, it is adding 8 also and 2 also. But if the first value which is coming as 8, so your println statement thinks like, okay, this is a number and this is a number. I should add it and then concatenate with the string. But if it's the other way, first it will think that it is a string. So it will try to concatenate numbers also with this string. Okay, so this becomes a conflict. Can you explain a Java program to reverse the sum up digits of a number? Sum up, sum up digits of a number. I didn't get your question. Sorry, your question is not clear to me. Why it is doing automatic type promotion and what is the reason? So generally, this auto type promotion. The reason I'm not really 100% sure, but in Java especially, whenever you're dealing with numbers, right? Any number 1, 2, 3, 4, any number, first preference or the first identity given to that is integer. Means it any program treats any number without a decimal point, it will by default treat it as integer value, and with dot whatever you are writing by default it treats it as float. So in Java, this is some convention that you should think. Any number written without a decimal point, it treats it as by default integer. Anything which is written with dot, by default, it treats it as a float value. So there are lesser values than integer, like byte and short. So so these two types do not come under like it is still below integer. So this issues will happen because by default Java is considering it as integer. It is not considering them as short or byte. So this should be explicitly handled. Okay, I exactly don't know why this automatic type promotion or a reason behind that, but this is a convention that you should follow, that yeah, but any number is by default treated as integer. Any data type which is below that, whenever you're using, you must cast it. You must go and cast it. Okay. Sorry, the guest 504. What's your question, sir? Can you explain Java program to reverse and sum up of the numbers? Means I should given an array, I should reverse that array and sum up, or I am not understanding what is the logic that you're trying to bring in. Okay. Anyway, You just come up with a proper question, post it in the same chat window, then we will answer you. If you have a memory shortage, then we actually want to deal with byte. Yeah, if you have a memory shortage, when we actually want to deal with byte, then yeah. So yeah, like in case you always want to deal with byte only, so there is something like byte generally takes value till 128. Okay, so generally it takes from minus 127 to plus 128. So this is the range of this. So generally this is not recommended until you are just going for weeks. Like in a week there are 7 days, so you are only using that kind of things, or in a month there are 30 days. Only if these are the two scenarios, or your values will not cross more than 2 digits. Okay, if that is the case, then it is recommended to go with byte or short. Okay, but it is not recommended to go with byte because there is some round circle issue, or we call it outbound issue. Okay, so see, I'll show you what is that issue. So here having a byte value called as b is equal to 34, and imagine c is equal to 100. Now I will just do addition of it. So just think, I am doing byte answer is equal to answer is equal to b plus c. I'm doing this b plus c, and it says that you have to convert it to byte. Okay, I'll go and convert that to byte also, and then I try to print it, system.out.println. It is answer I'm trying to print, but you know what is the size limit of this, right? It supports only 128. Now 100 plus 34 is crossing that 128 range, right? So what happens is it brings a reverse order of data. It prints negative values. So if I save it and run it now, it prints negative values to me, which is not recommended. Okay, so what is happening? If you consider this as a round robin or round circle, okay, if you're considering it as a round circle, so imagine you're starting your execution values from you're starting your execution values from plus 128. Say 128 is the limit. Okay, and here it comes, maybe here you can take this here. Okay, sorry, you can take it here. Okay, so imagine you're starting from 0 to 128 is fine. Okay, here till here it is fine. It all the values works fine. But after 128 onwards, right? Till this, it is like minus 120. You can consider like 0 here. But the starting value after this would be a negative values starting from 127. So it's like 127 minus 126, 125, like that it goes till 0. Okay, so that's why you're getting value here as 122. That is the extra values which were there after 127, they got subtracted and you are getting minus 122. So this is not the recommended way for going with byte. Okay, when you want to choose byte as a data type, ensure it will not cross more than no more than 100. Okay, so it's not recommended to go with byte as a data type unless it is very crucial or very memory management thing. We are nowadays we are not caring about sizes. Actually, we have enough RAMs and we have enough what to say uh, storage things. Okay, we don't go with storage. We actually deal with time complexity. We don't go with storage complexity. Okay, sir, take two numbers and reverse it. Print the sum of reversing numbers. Take two-digit numbers, reverse it and print the reversing number. Okay, you had a interview question or something like this, is it? Okay, so I have two numbers which are two digits, two digit numbers. Reverse it print the sum of reversing number. So I should print 43 plus 01. That is your requirement. I have to reverse this number and then add them and print it, right? Okay, I will do it. Okay. So what is the exact requirement, or why this question now? Like, any reason that you're finding it difficult to solve, or you tried to solve it and you didn't get the answer, or where did you find this question? Okay, you're okay. It's an interview question, I feel. But I will solve it. I will solve it. Maybe I need to think for some time, and then I will solve it. Not an issue. I will solve it for you in the next class. Okay. So if I start thinking now, I look dumb for all of you. I can think and then get back to you and solve it. Okay, that's not an issue. I got your question now, so I'll reverse it and print it, add it and print it for you. That's not an issue. Okay. Then okay. So today's class, I actually wanted to go with 1D arrays and complete few bits of it, but I will keep it for next day. I will complete 1D array and 2D arrays tomorrow. Okay, and then I go with functions and things later. Okay, so tomorrow's agenda or Monday's agenda is to complete 1D and 2D arrays. Okay, so today what your task is to do is you go back to your eBox platform and you need to practice problems present in that. Okay, if you're not practicing any problems in eBox, there is no use of coming to this class and sitting here and listening to the class. Okay, so there is no use, I'm saying. So please go and log into your eBox account, and you will be given some course like this. So here you are supposed to go and you are supposed to go, write some code and try to understand what is happening. Okay, say for example, for basics of programming, you have some practice problems given, like I design. You go in this and try to solve problems which are given. Try to write code here and save it, compile it, execute it, validate it, and run it. So that will solve this problem as well as give you some inputs on how to solve problems. Okay, you need to read and understand this problem statement, write code here to solve it. Okay, so that will bring you more confidence and more understanding in terms of what you are trying to do and how you are trying to say read the inputs and write the output. All that you will be able to get some idea. Okay, so try to do these problems which are there for your exercise. Okay, so maybe in the weekend you can sit and do complete this. I think day one, day two, I think two days problems you should be able to solve. So you solve it and come back Monday. I'll meet you with more topics on 1D array, 2D array, and also some topics on strings. Okay. Yeah. So the person who asked out, I'll get back to you with the answer. Okay. Maybe if I am able to solve it, I will put that solution in the chat only. You can come anytime in the chat and you can check it. In case I'm able to solve it, I'll put it in the chat. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thanks for your time. I'll post the recording both in the YouTube channel as well as in this group also. It will be available after some time. You can come and view it here, or you can go to my YouTube channel and see that. Okay.